Trust, I feel like, is at the foundation of my faith, because the way that I became a believer was through my college roommate. So I was going through a really hard time, and she, heard me crying one day and, came over to me and started to comfort me and just had this grace about her. And she talked to me about Jesus and offered these online services for me to watch. So I said thank you, but I wasn't quite ready to really open up to God yet at that point. So a year later, my grandmother had passed away, and she was like a mom to me, and I was going through a hard time again, and I found these services on my computer, and I started watching them, and I became a believer through watching these services from a church out in Colorado. So the trust that she had and the faith that she had to talk to me about God when I wasn't open about it, and that pushed me with my faith, because when I started to walk with God, I was still living a life where I had one foot in the world and one foot with God, and I was trying to do both things, and I wasn't doing either one well. And it wasn't until I really started to honor God with my body and my money and just dedicating that time with him every day, that I started to really see a change in my faith and in my walk with him. A couple years later, I was in a relationship with someone that I probably should not have been in a relationship with, and despite loving that person, I knew it in my heart that it wasn't God and it wasn't the path that he had for me. So after prayer and really reflecting, I had to close that door, which was really hard. But the way that, again, God blessed me with filling that, not hole in my heart, but he was able to fill me with love that I had never gotten from that relationship. Yeah. It was just so powerful, and I leaned so heavily on the verses of Proverbs 3, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. And if you really submit everything to him, he's gonna make your path straight, especially when at that time I felt like I was walking in a really crooked, cloudy place.
Wow. I love that verse.
Yeah.
And I also think it's really cool that your roommate planted the seeds that you reaped literally a year later. But I think it's important to remember as believers that every single conversation we have with believers and especially non-believers, we should be thinking that could be a way for God to break through for them. Absolutely. And it might not be right there in that moment, but it can be a seed that's planted that maybe they'll go back and throw some water on it a year later when something else happens in their life.
Because for her too, I'm sure it was hard for her to, open up about God and not see the immediate feedback of, oh, well, you were saved right at that moment.
Yes.
It took a while for that to grow in me, and it's always so beautiful when God is able to, because he meets you where you are, right? And if you're not ready, he's patient and he'll wait for you. So it was just that.
I love that.